the Caudan waterfront and Les Salines area. In addition, provision is being made to hold the Caudan Development Limited liable for any claim that may arise from the use of the bridge built by it, including but not limited to any accident or mishap. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish at the outset to explain the rationale underlying the present bill. Caudan Development Limited has built a swing bridge between the Caudan waterfront marina parking and the opposite bank of le bassin du Caudan at Les Salines. Now, this bridge is meant to offer a pedestrian link between the Caudan waterfront and major developments in progress at Les Salines, that is on the other bank, namely Odysseo Oceanarium, and the cruise terminal, amongst other developments. Now, these developments are, of course, of national interest, and the swing bridge will substantially ease movement of the general public, including tourists, in that particular area. Now, the bridge is expected to enhance the overall waterfront experience for both local and international visitors coming from either the cruise terminal, which is being built next to the Odysseo Oceanarium, or other parts of the country and wishing to visit Port Louis, the capital city, and its immediate surroundings. The visitor experience will begin at the cruise terminal all the way up to the Apravasi Ghat and even Port Louis Market. Now, furthermore, in view of its structural characteristics, the bridge will also provide controlled access for all vessels entering the Bassin du Caudan. Now, Mr. Speaker, the House might be interested to know that Caudan Development Limited purchased, in fact, the swing bridge from the V&A waterfront in Cape Town back in 2021. The structure was disassembled and various elements thereof modified to enable the containerized shipping of all of its constituent parts to Mauritius. The company then appointed Arup Mauritius Limited as consultant to support in the renovation, reassembly, installation and commissioning of the swing bridge. I'm informed by Caudan Development Limited that the total cost of the bridge stands at around 16 million rupees. Caudan Development Limited has, after obtaining a building and land use permit from the Municipal City Council of Port Louis and other clearances from relevant authorities, including the Mauritius Ports Authority, it has already installed the swing bridge. The land on both sides of the bridge belongs to the Mauritius Ports Authority, which has leased it to Caudan Development Limited. Now, this bridge will rotate, I am told, anti-clockwise, so that the public will have access to Le Suffren and to Odysseo Oceanarium. As a result, the bridge will cross the Bassin du Caudan, which forms part of the public domain. Now, in August 2021, Arup Mauritius Limited, on behalf of Caudan Development Limited, sought clearance from my ministry, the Ministry of Housing and Land Use Planning, in order to operate the bridge. Now, as members of the House may know, on the basis of Article 538 of our Civil Code, the public domain cannot, of course, be alienated, and just as was the case in 2019 when an overhead footbridge was built over the Montchoisy-Cap Malheureux road, legal advice obtained by government was to the effect that as the bridge would cross a public domain, an act of Parliament is required. And so therefore, in the light of this advice and in conformity with past practice over the years, in situations where crossing of the public domain is concerned, the present bill has been introduced before the House. Now, prior to introduction of the bill, of course, due consultations have taken place with all relevant departments, including the Defence and Home Affairs Division of the Prime Minister's Office, the External Communications Divisions of the Prime Minister's Office, the Ministry of Environment, the Ministry of Blue Economy, the Mauritius Ports Authority, and the Department of Continental Shelf Maritime Zones Administration and Exploration. There are no objections to the operation of the swing bridge. Nonetheless, a number of conditions have been imposed on Codan Development Limited, and I will quote a number of these conditions. One, the bridge will be operational only during daytime, between the hours of 9 in the morning and 6 p.m. in the evening. And it will be manned by 2 operators who will ensure that all safety conditions are observed, having regard to the use of the bridge. 2, the bridge will be under CCTV surveillance to provide added security to pedestrians crossing the bridge. 3, relevant safety equipment will be available. 4, the bridge will only be open when weather conditions are favorable, and it will therefore be closed in the case of bad weather, cyclones, heavy swells, or any other natural calamity. 5, should the need arise, upon specific request from concerned authorities, cruise ships, and in the case of emergencies, the Codan Development Limited may consider extending normal opening hours of the bridge. 6, no obstruction may be caused to embarkations entering the Bassin du Codan by the bridge. Now, being given that the swing bridge is not a scheduled undertaking, as per the 5th schedule of the Environment Protection Act 2002 as amended, an environmental impact assessment or a preliminary environmental report approval is not warranted. I wish also to point out, as per clause 4 of the bill, the pedestrian swing bridge is 34.381 meters long and 2.3 meters wide. It is a steel structure with wooden planks, and it is built at a height of 2.3 meters above sea level. Its rotating and support mechanism, along with its control system, will lie on the Codan waterfront bank, and it will be supported by what are called contained piling structures, while the landing concrete structure will be on the opposite bank, next to the boundary wall of Le Suffren Hotel and in front of the Odisseo Oceanarium. I have already mentioned that the operation of the swing bridge will be the security of the responsibility of 2 agents employed by Codan Development Limited, who will open and close the bridge to ensure the safe passage of any vessels, embarkations crossing into the Bassin du Codan. Codan Development Limited has indeed undertaken to observe all relevant health and safety regulations applicable in this case. In line with Section 3 of the Principal Act, the swing bridge will be kept in a state of good repair at all times by Codan Development Limited at its own cost. And the company will also ensure that the bridge is not a source of danger to the public. I am informed that maintenance work will be carried out by Codan Development Limited and the company Industrie et Services de l'Océan Indien Limité, which in fact fixed the bridge when it had to be set up. Of course, the pedestrian bridge will be the property of the government of Mauritius, but shall not be part of the public domain. In line with Section 5 of the Codan Bridges Portly Authorized Construction Act, which is the principal act, Codan Development Limited will have to pay to government and to the Municipal Council of Port Louis an annual fee which may be revised every 5 years. Now, I believe, Mr. Speaker, that the bridge will contribute to improving walkability in the waterfront area, as such a pedestrian bridge over the Bassin du Codan will provide an easy and direct link from the Codan waterfront to Les Salines area for people to access services and amenities of both areas. It will provide a safe and efficient way for pedestrians to cross the Bassin du Codan without having to use a vehicle or a ferry. It will also minimize interaction between people and vehicular traffic, therefore enhancing road safety for visitors, whether local or international, in the area. Mr. Speaker, sir, of course, Mauritius is a signatory of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, and it is therefore apposite to note that the swing bridge is disabled accessible. Mr. Speaker, sir, the bridge is designed to swing out of the way of boats that need to pass through to go into the Bassin du Codan, allowing for the safe and uninterrupted flow of both pedestrians and boat traffic. Additionally, this pedestrian swing bridge will undoubtedly constitute a tourist attraction and add aesthetic value to the area. With these words, Mr. Speaker, sir, I commend the bill to the House.
Motion seconded. The question is that the Codan Bridge is Portly authorized construction. I thought you were absent.
Are you really? The problem is I don't catch your eye very often.
Yeah, sure. Because you chose a very bad position.
No, you gave me the position. Thank you, Speaker, sir, for giving me the opportunity to intervene on the Codan Bridges Port Louis Authorized Construction Amendment Bill. No major qualms. It's going to be a very short intervention. Only a few points that I've observed to highlight. And for the Minister to clarify, because along the way I will explain what it is. Well, what the Honourable Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Housing and Land Use Planning has circulated for us to debate is very different from other similar amendments to the said Act, or even on structures having been built in the past over the push stream, which I intervened on in 2018, for example, during the previous mandate, and more recently on the Montchoisy-Cap Malheureux bill, which you just mentioned in your introductory remarks, in 2020. The difference is that all others have had their respective implementation presented in Parliament before construction. But this one is different insofar as it is being done after the construction has occurred. So the swing bridge, in fact, at some point the Minister has said it will lie on the Codan Wharf. It is already located there. I've visited it this morning. In fact, I even have a photo of it. It's a very nice looking structure, no major issues about it. White painted colored structure. I'm not too sure whether the Minister has been on site, but here it is. And it is a movable bridge that has its primary support foundation as a vertical pin on the Codan Wharf Marina site. Parking and about which the bridge pivots horizontally, as explained earlier, to join the other side, meaning the recently constructed Odisseo Oceanarium and the cruise terminal. Their access, which seems to be a problem so far, will be addressed once the bridge is operational. So everybody knew that it was going to swing over the Koda Basin to enable the public to commute between Koda waterfront and Les Salines, as mentioned. Then my question is, why has the minister responsible for land use planning brought the bill for debate after the construction has been done, when we could have debated on it before construction, like we did in the past? We are put before a fait accompli, so to speak. Is it because the ministry has been contacted only when Koda Development Limited has realized that it won't be able to operate the swing bridge over the Koda Basin before the Ministry of Land Use Planning has given its approval? Is that the case? Well, if that is the case, then there is a serious coordination problem between authorities, because I'm informed that the Municipal Council of Port Louis has already issued a building and use planning, as the Minister has mentioned earlier, to Koda Development Limited. Obviously so. Otherwise, it would not have taken the risk to construct something without the Municipal Council of Port Louis approval. Would the Honourable Minister of Land Use Planning, who is also Deputy Prime Minister, agree that this could have had serious repercussions if it was not possible for him, for whatever technical reasons, under his jurisdiction, to allow the bridge to swing over the Koda Basin? Which authority would have borne the responsibility of such a meli-melo, and the claim that the developer could have put to the Municipal Council of Port Louis, because it has given it BLUP and the bridge is not able to be operated? There could have been, claim from the developer. And what about if all members in this House were not agreeable with the construction, even though the Council has approved the project? The moot point is, any structure which crosses waterways must have the approval of the honourable members in the House, isn't it? According to law. I'm not saying that the project is a bad one, but I'm raising this issue as a matter of principle in public administration. Now, on a different note, during my site visit this morning, and from information that I've gathered on site, I think the Minister has touched on this as well, the bridge is not a new one, but it is a second-hand one that has been shipped from South Africa, as said, and installed here. Now, I tried to obtain the age of that steel structure, because steel in the marine environment tends to corrode very fast if it is not galvanized, but my host at the Koda Water Development Limited could not enlighten me on the age. I'm not saying that it is corroded, because the structure has been freshly painted in white, so you can't see the real estate. So my question here is, which authority has issued a fit-for-use certificate on this massive structure that crosses the Koda Basin and on which people will walk over 34 meters as stated in the bill? Petit anecdote at this stage. The last time we had a similar amendment in Parliament was on the Montchoisy, Cap Malheureux amendment bill, which I referred to earlier, an amendment on which I had intervened, giving my views. But I do recall the Honourable Abbas Mahmoud, then opposition MP, who is going to intervene after me, took the sketches of the Honourable Obigadou in his hand and said it was a terrible eyesore. Yes? You forgot. But then he was sitting on the opposition benches and has since crossed over to the government side. Being given that he is speaking after me later today, I would like to listen to his intervention with a lot of interest. And if he doesn't have the photo, I have it with me. Now, I want to point out something very strange that I've noticed between this amendment and the one that was circulated in the House when the Cordon Bridges Portwis Authorization Construction Amendment Bill of 17 August 1996 in order to allow the construction of 2 bridges back then in 1996. Firstly, provision is being made to hold Cordon Development Limited responsible for all liabilities associated with the construction. I must say that in the 1996 Act, this was still the case, but then it was clearly specified in law that public domain, that those bridges, even though they were not part of the public domain, they shall be the property of the government of Mauritius. The minister has said just now that it's going to be the property of the government of Mauritius. But why is it not clearly stated in the law, in the bill, like the case was in the past? If you want, I can give you a copy of the previous bill. It's clearly stated there that in law, so that no one can mess around in the future. Now you've said it in Parliament, but it's not in the law. Now, as far as the fees associated to be payable, as Minister has mentioned, even in the previous bill of 1996, it was clearly stated fees to be payable as may be prescribed by the Honorable Minister. And this time again, it's not in the law. I'm not too sure how it will be taken care of administratively, but I thought it would have been better if it was clearly specified in the law. Now, in this bill, again, in the previous bill, because I'm using it as a reference, at some point in time it is stated that the design as may be approved by the minister. Here it's not stated, but before it was stated. So I believe design criteria like overall dimension, width and span, clearance, all these things approved by the minister before it is constructed. All this now does not appear. Is it because the bridge has already been constructed, and as a consequence of which the minister has had no chance at all to give his opinion on the design? So basically, those were the few points that I wanted to highlight, and I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to start my speech by thanking the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Housing and Land Use, for introducing this bill to amend the Cordon Bridges Portwis Authorized Construction Act, so as to authorize the Cordon Development Limited to operate a pedestrian swing bridge over the Cordon Bassin. It's not on land, Mr. Speaker, sir. It's on a basin at Cordon, which is commonly known as Cordon Bassin. So it's very different from the bridge that was built in the north. A bill, Mr. Speaker, sir, which will bring the center of Port Louis at walking distance within Les Salines. A pedestrian swing bridge, also known as a footbridge or a pedestrian bridge, a bridge is a type of bridge, Mr. Speaker, designed specifically for pedestrian. Unlike conventional bridges that allow vehicular traffic, pedestrian swing bridges are intended to provide safe passage for pedestrians. Grateful if the minister can intervene and could consider with the promoters so that in the near future, the access to cyclists, handicapped, and sometimes small non-motorized vehicle to the pedestrian can also be considered. Trottinette, par exemple, Monsieur le Président. One thing coming to Honorable Mohammed, I've been councillors for 20 years at the City Council of Port Louis. My friend, very good friend, on the other side of the House, Honorable Deven Nagalingam, has been mayor of Beaubassin-Rosil. We have been councillors. Permit may be approved with condition. Was in BLP, or previously there was no BLP, there was a works committee itself. And this can be brought to council, and council can approve with condition. And this condition can be what we are discussing today in this assembly. So the question of approving permit prior to being brought to Parliament is not a sinister matter. You can rest assured. The distinguished feature of such bridge is its ability to swing horizontally or pivot around at a central point. This movement allows a bridge to accommodate both traffic or other waterway transportation needs. When a vessel needs to pass through, the bridge can swing, open or pivot to create an opening, thus allowing the boat to navigate the waterway without obstruction. Once the vessel has passed, the bridge can be closed again, restoring the pathway for pedestrians. It is interesting to note that it will not be open at night. I've just learned it, and it is very interesting to note that it will be safer when closed at night. These bridges serve as important transportation links, enabling pedestrians to cross waterways safely while preserving the mobility of water traffic. Mr. Speaker, sir, pedestrian swing bridges are not only functional, but often serve as architectural landmark and tourist attraction. They can enhance the aesthetic of an area, providing a unique visual element to the landscape while meeting the practical transportation needs of pedestrians and boaters alike. This bridge, Mr. Speaker, sir, will help enhancing the vast road decongestion program. Motorists coming from the south will be able to drop their car at Les Salines car parks and use the pedestrian swing bridge to enter the city center via the Coda waterfront. Furthermore, Mr. Speaker, sir, with all the major projects undertaken by this government under the road decongestion program in and within Port Louis, namely the Decon flyover, third lane at Richter, A1, M1 Link Road, and the flyover at KD roundabout. Mr. Speaker, sir, the KD roundabout is a major access point for the port area and is operating beyond, and was operating beyond its capacity during both peak and off-peak hours, with subsequent queuing along motorway M2 and adjacent road, such as Marine Road and Military Road, which form part of my constituency. Here I would like to thank the Minister, Honorable Bobby Ariram, for the development he brought within my constituency. As per the government program 2020 to 2024, with an emphasis, among others, on inclusiveness at the heart of the nation, the government is investing to further modernize the road network access within the country. In the recent years, Mr. Speaker, sir, there has been major development along the motorway M2, where the road corridor has been widened between the port area and Jinfei-Richter. Mr. Speaker, it is with a similar objective that this government is passing the needful legislation to allow for the construction of a pedestrian swing bridges over the Codan Bassin in view to alleviate the traffic further at the south entrance of Port Louis and making it easier for the road users from the south to park their vehicle in Les Salines and get convenient access to the city center through this pedestrian swing bridge. This upcoming swing bridge will also be a connection between Les Salines and le Codan waterfront, a lieu de vie where art meets learning, where local craft reaches out to the world, where art forms merge to give singular experiences, and where different culinary specialties meet. This bridge will, Mr. Speaker, allow to enhance and Le Salines region by giving a convenient and improved pedestrian access to the Metro Express and Victoria urban terminal, thus allowing an economical boost to the existing amenities there like Ediceo, the Christian Decoterre cruise terminal, the docks, and Les Salines region. Mr. Speaker, sir, I just welcome this bill, which will help reducing the traffic flow entering Port Louis City and help boosting economic development within Port Louis and the Codan and Les Salines region. I thank you for your attention.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Today we are asked to vote the Codan Bridges Port Louis Authorized Construction Amendment Bill. And the object of the bill is to amend the Codan Bridges Port Louis Authorized Construction Act to authorize the Codan Development Limited to operate a pedestrian swing bridge over the Codan Bassin for the purpose of enabling the public to commute between Codan waterfront and Les Salines area. In view of the fact that this area forms part of the public domain and the bridge would be crossing over the public domain, an act of parliament is required, hence the need for this bill. This is in conformity with past practice over the years in such situations. I have listened to the Honourable Minister of Housing and Lands, the Deputy Prime Minister, carefully, and I have only a few points to raise. So I'm going to be very short in my intervention. At the outset, let me state that we, from this side of the House, we have no big quarrel on such bill, but during my intervention, I will rather ask some clarifications and also some measures that will have to be taken into consideration in order to ensure safety and security of pedestrians that will be using the bridge. Firstly, Mr. Speaker, as Honorable Osman Mohamed mentioned that he went this morning, I went yesterday evening because when the bill was circulated, we had no idea exactly what it was all about. I thought that next time maybe a photography would help a lot in terms of understanding what's in it. So I went there and I had a look at what's being done. And it was clear that the bill was done to connect Codan waterfront to the other side, but the side where the Odisseo aquarium is found, and this bridge gives access to to that OGCO, but in the bill it is stated that it was for the purpose of enabling the public to commute between Coda Waterfront and Les Salines. But we all know the main idea behind it was connecting it to OGCO, Suivez, and what's in there on the other side, because this is done by the private sector, and we know very well, Mr. Speaker, there is no free lunch. Mr. Speaker, secondly, I was surprised to notice that the bridge has already been built, installed, and ready to use. So I would like to know from the Honourable Minister whether all necessary permits and clearances were obtained prior to the start of the construction. Maybe during his summing up, the Minister could give us the dates, the information in relation thereto. Was it before the construction or after the construction that the permit has been obtained? Because it's only now that the bill is coming to the House. Mr. Speaker, pedestrian bridges provide opportunities to people, to connect people, communities, nature, and pedestrian bridge design process includes 7 important considerations. These are the research that I've done on the net. What is the trail width, the site conditions, geotechnical analysis, abutment plan, permits, safety, and durability. While constructing a pedestrian bridge, there are several important factors to take into consideration, and a country which is cyclonic prone, like Mauritius, it has its paramount importance. So the width of a pedestrian bridge is dependent on the type of travelers and amount of traffic the bridge will receive. Among the conditions that are essential for it to operate safely, it's the site conditions, whether it is a safe site, whether it has any, it is a dangerous site or not, geotechnic analysis, that is where the main poles, the main concrete poles are inserted in the ground. Has there been any geotechnical analysis? In terms of safety, which, as I said, is of paramount importance, and also the durability, that is the lifespan of the bridge. Mr. Speaker, quality and safety inspection, why I am mentioning this to the House, and I am insisting on quality and safety inspection, is that while doing some research on the net, and today we are debating this bill in the House, I come across some press articles, and it's good that I share these information that I've gathered on the net. About 6 months ago, at least 81 people were killed when a pedestrian bridge over a river in the western Indian state of Gujarat collapsed, plunging hundreds of people into the water. There has been official report of that. And another case which I came across, a pedestrian bridge crowded with tourists collapsed while people gathered to watch the dragon boat race. The incident took place in the Green Sand Island Park in Foshan, Guangdong. People were seen walking on the bridge that caved in fearlessly. So I think this, Mr. Speaker, I'm mentioning this because prevention is better than cure. I hope that this will be taken into consideration. Mr. Speaker, as I said, in the case in similar legislation, the state normally charges fees as provided for, as assessed by the evaluation department. The bridge, I'm not sure if the Honourable Minister mentioned it, the bridge shall be the property of Mauritius. It shall be built and operated by the private sector, but government can, at any point in time, remove the bridge if it so wishes. I think this is normally in the law. Mr. Speaker, to conclude, recently there was a case of larceny, theft on the bridge, which links Victoria Station to the metro station, which is found in Koda. We all watch the video on Facebook. Although we are not talking about the same bridge. This one is a covered one. The other one is not covered. But according to my point of view, a security guard is most welcome. I'm done, Mr. Speaker. Actually,
Mr. Speaker, thank you for giving me the opportunity to intervene on this bill, which is the Codon Bridges Port With Amendment Bill. We are talking here about amending the existing act, which already authorizes the Codon Development Limited to build bridges under certain conditions, and also imposes obligations on the company, that is the Codon Development Limited, to maintain the bridges at his own cost. I listened to Honorable Osman Mohammed, and he mentioned that he heard the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister talking about the bridges being the property of Mauritius, but he can't find it in the amendment. But we are only amending the existing act, Mr. Speaker, sir. And if you go to the principal act that we are called to amend this evening, you will see under Section 4 of the existing act, public domain, I think my friend, Honorable Adil Mia also mentioned it, which says the bridges, at the subsection B of Section 4, it says the bridges shall be the property of government of Mauritius. So in my opinion, about the bridges being the property of Mauritius is already there in the law. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the mid-80s, while I was at the secondary school, I studied a subject called biology, like most of the students at the time. And it was one of my preferred subjects also. So biology is a very large and broad field due to the wide variety of life found on this planet. But we can put it simply as biology being the study of living things. So we were then taught that the characteristics of living things, we were taught that there are 7 characteristics, and you have to tick all the 7 boxes to be classified as a living thing. And the first characteristic, Mr. Speaker, sir, was move on its own. Human being, Mr. Speaker, sir, is a living being and has always been on the move. The ability of movement and the necessity has allowed mankind to realize great achievements. However, movement shall not be in an uneconomic manner. Once, I heard someone saying that on one occasion, the former Prime Minister of Singapore, Mr. Lee Kuan Yew, was asked if one day our island can achieve what Singapore has achieved. And you know, Mr. Speaker, sir, his answer was no. And he further added that it's because we don't seem to have realized that the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. Now, with the changing landscape of the island, there is a need for a link between the region of Les Salines and Codon. So we want to have a direct access, which is eco-friendly, and will be part of the modernization plan of our island, Mr. Speaker, sir. So this amendment, Mr. Speaker, sir, is about allowing Codon Development to operate a pedestrian swing bridge over the Codon Bassin for the purpose of enabling the public to commute between Codon waterfront and Les Salines area. And from the amendments proposed at Section 3 of the Act, I understand that the bridge will be 2.3 meters above water level and on a span of 34.381 meters and 2.3 meters wide. And the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister mentioned that we'll rotate anti-clockwise. Mr. Speaker, sir, when it comes to bridge, we are talking of the most powerful symbol of human society, symbol of connection and symbol of harmony. A swing bridge, Mr. Speaker, sir, we must first of all understand, is a fascinating and essential engineering marvel of the world. The purpose of this swing bridge, which is meant for operation in areas where the high volumes of water flow, or where the water level rises and falls at different times of the year. So what I would like to say is that those who have proposed the swing bridge could have come with other types of bridges, but let me convey my thanks to those people who thought of a swing bridge as it suits the area. The bill does not obviously provide any technical detail on the conception of the bridge. However, the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister shed some lights on the technical aspects, and now we know that the bridge will be in metallic structure, and swing bridges having been in operation since years in various parts of the world, and today their designs have evolved to become more efficient and sophisticated. I just want to highlight here that swing bridge is an essential part of the world's infrastructure, and its role in facilitating transportation and commerce cannot be overstated. It is a testament of human ingenuity and engineering ability, and it will continue to play a critical role in the world's transportation infrastructure for many years to come. The second amendment, Mr. Speaker, sir, is about the liability that the bridge may entail. So a new section is added to the Section 3 of the Principal Act, where Codon Development will be liable to any claims that may arise from the use of bridges, including but not limited to any accident or mishap caused to the public. The amendment is in fact the last piece of the jigsaw puzzle, as the existing law under the Section 3, subsection 2, only talks about the obligations of maintaining, whilst this new subsection, Mr. Speaker, sir, is making the company liable for not respecting the obligations of maintenance. Liability entailing from the use of bridge will depend on several factors, such as the conditions of the bridge, the design and engineering of the bridge, and any warnings or safety precautions that were in place at the time of use. Claims proven that the bridge was poorly maintained or designed, and that this directly caused an injury or property damage, then the entity responsible for maintaining the bridge could be held liable for damages, and in this case, the proposed amendment makes it clear that it will be the company, that is, Codon Development. Mr. Speaker, sir, this amendment is about a new step in the way of doing things, and also a foundation of landmark project and an epitome of modernity. So I got no other choice than to acclaim this amendment and bring my full support to it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well,
Mr. Speaker, sir, as we celebrated Labor Day last week, before starting my debate speech on this current bill, may I take your permission to pay tribute to the struggles and achievements of all workers in Mauritius. No work is insignificant. All labors that uplift humanity has dignity and importance and should be undertaken with painstaking excellence. Without workers, no civilization could be built. Labor Day is of special significance for all Mauritian workers who for many years have struggled for their social, political, and economic rights. We at the government, we care for the rights of all workers. I take this opportunity to thank everyone who were present massively in Vakwa last week. This demonstrates a huge confidence of the population towards the Honorable Prime Minister and towards the alliance partners, including the Mouvement Libérateur,
Honorable Raoul,
of Ivan Kolendavelu, the Mouvement Patriotique of...
Honorable Raoul,
Yeah.
don't cross the bridge.
I'm not... I just wanted to pay tribute to all the workers in Mauritius.
Come back to the bridge.
Now let's cross the bridge. Monsieur le Président, revenons au débat. Quand Léonard de Vinci s'invite au paysage de Port-Louis pour rendre hommage à Maïda Boudonné et au peuple mauricien, on célèbre depuis 2019 les 500 ans de la mort de Léonard de Vinci, considéré comme un des plus grands génies de l'humanité, tant en or qu'en ingénierie. Cette commémoration célébrée à travers le monde rappelle à quel point le maître florentin était en avance sur son époque. 500 ans après sa mort, on peut constater que plusieurs de ses conceptions révolutionnaires auraient pu se réaliser s'il avait eu accès aux matériaux actuels. Monsieur le Président, pensés pendant la Renaissance, plusieurs concepts d'ingénierie civile élaborés par Léonard de Vinci révolutionnaire pour son époque et réalisable pour la nôtre, aurait marqué notre imaginaire collectif. Le pont pivotant, le pont à double travée, le pont démontable, le pont de la Corne d'Or. Monsieur le Président, Léonard de Vinci fut le premier qui imagina un pont tournant, dont la principale innovation consistait à déplacer rapidement le tablier sans avoir à le soulever. Totalement mobile, ce pont tournant est installé sur une rive autour d'un pivot vertical, un pylône qui sert d'un point d'équilibre. Des cordes et des poulies placent le pont en parallèle de la rive d'ancrage pour laisser passer les bateaux en quelques minutes. Monsieur le Président, 500 ans après le premier pont tournant inventé par Léonard de Vinci, l'île Maurice verra le jour du premier pont tournant de son histoire sous l'égide du gouvernement du Premier ministre Pravin Kumar Jagannath. Monsieur le Président, l'histoire est toujours créée par des grands leaders, visionnaires. Le Premier ministre est certainement parmi ceux. Monsieur le Président, l'objectif de ce projet de loi est d'autoriser Codan Development Limited à exploiter un pont pivotant pour piétons au-dessus du bassin de Codan afin de permettre au public de se déplacer entre le fond de mer de Codan et la zone de l'île Saline. À Maurice, il y a une prise de conscience croissante de l'importance des infrastructures pour les piétons en termes de trottoirs et de passerelles. Ces ajouts à l'environnement urbain améliorent non seulement la facilité de déplacement en reliant les espaces et en raccourcissant les distances de déplacement, mais sont également plus respectueux de l'environnement. La passerelle piétonne tournante sur le bassin de Codan peut apparaître comme un ouvrage à usage unique reliant le Codan Waterfront au quartier de Saline, mais c'est plus qu'une simple traversée. Il offre un accès sûr et pratique qui va contribuer à attirer davantage de personnes, locaux et touristes vers l'Odysseo, l'hôtel Suffren et le futur terminal de croisière, optimisant et valorisant à terme la valeur géographique de la zone. Il peut également servir de point d'entrée capitale, donnant le ton de la qualité de l'environnement qui l'entoure. Monsieur le Président, ceci est conforme à la vision stratégique du gouvernement qui propose des projets pour revisiter l'ensemble de Port-Louis. L'objectif principal est de donner un nouveau visage à la capitale et ainsi de donner un nouvel élan à l'économie. Les principaux axes de développement comprennent la refonte des installations portuaires, la mise en place d'une ville culturelle de renommée internationale et la modernisation des transports publics. Monsieur le Président, ce gouvernement, sous la houlette du Premier ministre, a investi et continue à investir massivement pour relooker la ville de Port-Louis. Au cours des 8 dernières années, Port-Louis a vu l'émergence d'une série de projets menés à la fois par le secteur privé et le gouvernement pour atteindre les objectifs fixés pour élever Maurice et le placer sur la carte du monde et résoudre les nombreux problèmes dans le domaine culturel, tissu urbain, économique et sociétal. Monsieur le Président, le plan gouvernemental pour Port-Louis présente une idée de cohésion et d'intégrité sociétale qui se penche sur une myriade de composantes. En tant que PPS de la circonscription de Port-Louis, je suis fier d'être partie des séries de projets indépendants dans les différents quartiers de Plaine Verte, Chinatown, Apravasigat, le Waterfront, Victoria Urban Terminal, l'introduction de Métro Express et d'autres projets tels que présentés ont pour objectif convergent l'augmentation des moyens de subsistance des habitants et plaident pour l'équité sociétale. Monsieur le Président, les principaux moteurs clés des différents projets sont réaffirmer la dimension capitale de Port-Louis, reconnectez-vous avec la mer, connecter le patrimoine, insuffler la vie, apprivoiser la mobilité et célébrons la ville. Avec ces nouveaux aménagements, la qualité de vie de 191 000 électeurs s'est nettement amélioré. Monsieur le Président, Port-Louis est en train de se transformer en une ville culturelle de renommée internationale, avec des nouvelles structures culturellement actives et dynamiques. La ville va ainsi promouvoir une nouvelle offre de loisirs et culturels pour les Mauriciens comme les touristes. L'objectif de présenter Port-Louis comme un modèle à répliquer par d'autres villes et villages est sur le continent africain. Le gouvernement a divers d'autres projets en cours visant à transformer la capitale en une ville moderne sur le plan culturel, touristique et économique. Monsieur le Président, pour conclure, je tiens à féliciter le député Prime Minister, l'honorable Stephen Obigadou, d'avoir présenté ce projet de loi novateur à la Chambre aujourd'hui. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, honourable members of Parliament. I rise in support of the Codon Bridges Port-Louis Authorised Construction Amendment Bill number 5 of 2023. This bill seeks to authorise the Codon Development Limited to operate a pedestrian swing bridge over the Codon Basin for the purpose of enabling the public to commute between the Codon waterfront and Les Salines area. I wish to add at the outset that as a native of Codon Street and also the PPS of constituencies number 1 and 2, the swing bridge provides a deeply meaningful link between constituencies number 1 and 2. This cannot be a better realization that a dream comes true at last, wherein the spatial and symbiotic relationship between the two constituencies is bequeathed with even greater significance through the visionary enterprise of our government. On a first count, the pedestrian swing bridge will enhance the economic potential of the Codon waterfront and Les Salines area by promoting tourism and business activities. This area is known for its beautiful scenery, historical landmarks, and cultural attractions. However, the lack of connectivity between the two areas has limited its potential for economic growth. The construction of this bridge will address this issue by providing a seamless connection between the two areas, thereby creating more opportunities for visitors and businesses alike. The increased accessibility between the two areas will attract more visitors, providing a boost to the local economy. The convenience of the pedestrian swing bridge will also encourage people to frequent the area more often, leading to increased spending on food, shopping, and leisure activities. This project is not only significant in terms of its design and engineering, but also in the benefits it will bring to the local community and economy. The convenience of a pedestrian swing bridge will allow tourists and locals to traverse the area with ease without having to worry about traffic congestion or parking, hence leading to more visitors to explore the area. This will not only create new job opportunities, but will also help to sustain existing businesses. The pedestrian swing bridge will also serve as a catalyst for the development of new businesses and tourist attractions. With increased foot traffic in the area, entrepreneurs will be more likely to invest in the area, leading to the creation of new businesses and services. This will create a diverse economy with a range of new opportunities for people to work and invest in. The pedestrian swing bridge is a momentous project that will provide numerous benefits to the Codon waterfront and Les Salines area. Secondly, the pedestrian swing bridge will serve as an essential social infrastructure by providing a safe and convenient path for the people. Currently, the main mode of transport to move between these areas is through busy roads, which can be dangerous and often cause traffic congestion. The pedestrian swing bridge will offer a safer alternative to pedestrians and even those with mobility impairments, creating an accessible and inclusive environment for all. Mr. Speaker, sir, the safety of pedestrians has always been a significant concern in urban areas, and the pedestrian swing bridge will significantly address this issue. By offering a dedicated path for pedestrians, the bridge will reduce the risk of accidents and promote safe movement between the two areas. The pedestrian swing bridge will also improve the overall quality of life for the residents in the area. This will lead to increased social interaction, thereby building a stronger sense of community. The bridge will also provide easy access to important social amenities, such as offices, shopping, and recreational areas, making it easier for people to move around and access these services. In addition, the pedestrian swing bridge will promote an inclusive environment for all individuals, regardless of their mobility or disability status. By offering an accessible pathway that accommodates the needs of those with mobility impairment, the bridge will ensure that everyone can participate fully in the social and economic activities of the area. This will lead to a more equitable society that values and accommodates diversity. Thirdly, the pedestrian swing bridge will reduce the potential danger of accidents involving vehicles in the area. With the increasing traffic, the risk of accidents between the pedestrian and vehicles has become a significant concern. The installation of the pedestrian swing bridge will provide a dedicated pathway for pedestrians, reducing the likelihood of accidents and involving vehicles. By separating the pedestrian from the traffic, the bridge will offer a safer environment for all. Mr. Speaker, sir, the pedestrian swing bridge will also reduce traffic congestion in the area. With the current mode of transportation, vehicles often get caught in traffic jams, causing frustration and impatience among drivers. The pedestrian swing bridge will provide a dedicated pathway for pedestrians, reducing the number of vehicles on the road. This will not only reduce the risk of accidents, but also contribute to a smoother flow of traffic in the area. In addition, the pedestrian swing bridge will promote sustainable transportation in the area, with the bridge providing a safe and accessible pathway for pedestrians. It will encourage people to use alternative modes of transportation, thereby reducing the carbon footprint in the area. This will contribute to the sustainability of the environment and promote a more eco-friendly lifestyle. The installation of a pedestrian swing bridge will also improve the overall image of the area. The Codon Basin and its surrounding offers a picturesque and lovely view that continues to attract and to attract visitors from far and wide. With the installation of the pedestrian swing bridge, people will have the opportunity to experience the beauty of the area while crossing the bridge. Furthermore, the bridge will create a sense of place, bringing people together and fostering a sense of community. In addition, the bridge will offer opportunities for outdoor activities, contributing to a healthy and active lifestyle for both locals and tourists. The bridge will be an ideal location for those who enjoy being outdoors and connecting with nature, as it will offer panoramic views of the surrounding area. Finally, the pedestrian swing bridge will become a beacon of progress and development for the area. The bridge will signify the efforts made by the local authorities to improve the quality of life of the people in the area. Mr. Speaker, sir, the pedestrian swing bridge is an essential infrastructure project that will not only enhance the economic potential of the area, but also contribute to the safety, sustainability, and overall development of the community. The bridge will offer a unique experience for both locals and tourists, serving as a gathering place for people, promoting outdoor activities, and fostering a sense of community. The pedestrian swing bridge will be a landmark attraction, representing progress and development for the area, and a symbol of outreaching and hope for the future. In conclusion, the proposed pedestrian swing bridge will bring about significant economic, social, safety, and entertainment benefits for the people of Port Louis. It will provide a safe and accessible mode of transport for pedestrians, enhance the economic potential of the area, reduce the risk of accidents, and provide a source of entertainment and recreation. Therefore, I congratulate the Deputy Prime Minister for bringing to the House the Codon Bridges Port Louis Authorized Construction Amendment Bill of 2023. Thank you very much for your attention.
Deputy Prime Minister.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. So let me begin, as usual, by thanking my colleagues of the House on both sides for having contributed to the debate. Mr. Speaker, this is not the first time, of course, that we vote such a bill. And what is common to all of these bills? Let me mention them a bit. Again, the Queen Street Bridge Act of '79, the commercial, that was for the commercial bank, the MCB in Port Louis. The Testebus Street Bridge Act in 1990, close to the CB in Kilpip. The University of Mauritius Link Bridge, which we all know, in '93. The Sir William Newton Underpass, 96 for Port Louis. And then in 2020, during the present legislature, of course, the Montchoisy-Cap Malheureux overhead pedestrian bridge bill. This is not, therefore, uncommon. It is the case when there is a private initiative, an initiative of the private sector that, of course, as Honourable Amia pointed out, corresponds to the motivation of the private sector to develop its business, but which also goes along in the direction of development in the national interest. It is the perfect example of a public-private partnership creating a win-win situation. In such a context, the role of the state is to facilitate the initiative of the private sector while ensuring that in all aspects the public interest is protected. And that is what we're doing here again today. The legal background, I think, is now well understood, but given that there were still some doubts expressed on the other side, let me remind Honorable Osman Mohamed, Honorable Amir Mia, that there is a provision in our Code Civil, Article 538, that states that les chemins, routes, rues à la charge de la nation, les fleuves et rivières navigables ou flottables, les rivages, les et relais de la mer, les ports, les havres, les rades, et généralement toutes les portions du territoire national qui ne sont pas susceptibles d'une propriété privée sont considérées comme des dépendances du domaine public. Now, the implication of that legal provision is that the public domain is not susceptible to private ownership. We are allowing a bridge to be built over the public domain. It will be operated by the private sector, but it will be owned by government. This is always the case in all the examples that I gave earlier, and the present situation is no different. So I was asked, well, why is it not in the bill? And I must express my gratitude to my learned colleague, Honorable Nakjedi, learned because he, although not a lawyer, he was quick to point out to colleagues of the opposition that today's bill is simply an amendment to the main act which was introduced in 1996 by my good friend, now the Minister of Foreign Affairs, who was then Minister of Housing in 1996. And today's bill merely amends, I believe, one section of the Principal Act and the schedule of the Principal Act. So the main act of 1996 stands and provides that any such bridge shall be the property of the government of Mauritius. It also provides for annual fees to be payable. So I believe Honorable Nakjedi very ably answered the queries of members of the opposition. Now, the question was raised, when was it built? Now, we know that a building and land use permit was applied for and obtained, and that building and land use permit issued last year by the Municipal City Council of Port Louis had its general conditions and its special conditions for certification of works by an engineer, for clearances from the Ministry of Environment, the Mauritius Ports Authority, so all the required procedure was followed and all the guarantees obtained. My ministry was approached by the consultant on behalf of the company, Codan Development Limited, to seek authority permission clearance to operate the bridge. And I believe it was then that they realized that matters were not as simple as it would appear, and I will credit them with good faith. And they were advised that this requires Parliament's approval. And of course, the bridge cannot go into operation unless and until we vote the bill today. That is very clear, and that is how it is meant to be and how it is. Now, so it was, the bridge was installed in anticipation of clearance from the Ministry of Housing after the building and land use permit was obtained. Now, as regards the point made by Honorable Amir Mia, yes, the bridge will obviously facilitate movement between Codan, Le Suffren, the Oceanarium, but remember that just next to the Oceanarium, there is the cruise terminal coming up. So in fact, it will provide wider access beyond clients of Le Suffren and of the Oceanarium. And in any event, I think the access is through the parking of Le Codon, so open to the public. Safety concerns, yes, of course, there will always be safety concerns. I remember having said this when we debated the Montchoisy-Cap Malheureux Bridge, and members of the House opined that spoke of safety, so spoke of access for motorized vehicles, spoke of the aesthetic dimension, whether it will look good, what should, and I believe we have to trust the promoters. They are investing money, and they need this to be safe and to look good for their business, and it is the role of the state to keep a close watch, and I'm sure members of the opposition who live in Port-Louis or represent Port-Louis will help us do the job by going there often, as will members of the majority, and will be quick to signal if there is anything untoward happening. And of course, once this bill is enacted and the bridge goes into operation, then of course all the safety, the institutional safety procedures kick in, and the different authorities do their job as they are wont to do by law. The other issue raised was safety of pedestrians, risk of larcenies. Well, I stand informed that there will be 2 security guards at any point in time when the bridge is open to watch the safety issues generally. So there we are, Mr. Speaker. I believe I have addressed all the points raised in the course of the debate. Let me thank those who prepared this bill at the Ministry of Housing and Land Use Planning, the officers of the State Law Office who vetted and helped finalize the draft bill. Let me also thank the Prime Minister and members, my colleague of Cabinet, for their usual support, and also all members of the House who have contributed and supported this bill in the course of the debate. I believe I am done and only have to commend the bill to the House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The question is that the Code of Bridges Port-Louis Authorized Construction Amendment Bill number 5 of 2023 be read the second time. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. Aye. The ayes have it.
Public Bills Committee stage.
Please be seated.
Clause 1 short title, Clause 2 interpretation, Clause 3 section 3 of Principal Act amended, Clause 4 schedule to Principal Act amended, Clause 5 commencement.
Question is that clauses 1 to 5 stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, those against no. Aye. Ayes have it.
The title and enacting clause.
Question is that the title and enacting clause stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. Aye. The ayes have it. The question is that I do report to the House that the Code on Bridges Port-Louis Authorized Construction Amendment Bill number 5 of 2023 has passed the committee stage without amendment. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. Aye. The ayes have it. Please be seated. Honourable members, I have to report to the House that the Code on Bridges Port-Louis Authorized Construction Amendment Bill number 5 of 2023 has passed the committee stage without amendment.
Public Bills third reading.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I move that the Code on Bridges Port-Louis Authorized Construction Amendment Bill number 5 of 2023 be read a third time and passed.
Seconded. The question is that the Code on Bridges Port-Louis Authorized Construction Amendment Bill number 5 of 2023 be read the third time in part. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. Aye. Ayes have it.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the adjournment of the Assembly to Tuesday, the 16th of May, 2023 at 11:30 hours.
Seconded. The House stands adjourned. Adjournment matter.
Le problème que je souhaite soulever concerne le vice-premier ministre et ministre des administrations régionales. Je fais un appel à la municipalité de Port-Louis à travers le vice-premier ministre pour remettre en état les rues de la cité de Port-Louis, en particulier à la rue Monseigneur Gonin, qui a été sérieusement endommagée suite à des travaux et vraisemblablement par des poids lourds qui ont passé sur la rue. Aujourd'hui, cette rue représente un danger pour les automobilistes. Malheureusement, je ne peux pas déposer une photo de l'état de ces routes suite au ruling du speaker, mais je fais un appel au vice-premier ministre de parler à la municipalité pour lui et de remettre en état la route dans Monseigneur Gonin à Port-Louis. Merci.
Monsieur le Président, je transmettrai la demande de l'honorable membre au vice-premier ministre, le Dr. Snow.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Ma requête s'adresse au ministre of Land Transport, et j'espère qu'il y aura quelqu'un qui va transmettre, et qui concerne la rue Aïdoré. La rue Aïdoré qui s'appelle également Maulana Kouchtal. On vient de peindre la rue, c'est-à-dire single yellow line, et qui cause beaucoup d'inconvénients, surtout aux résidents de la rue. C'est juste devant leur garage, donc qui cause beaucoup d'inconvénients. Je dirais au ministre de voir et de faire le nécessaire pour qu'on enlève ces single yellow lines.
Monsieur le Président, les remarques de Monsieur le député ont été bien notées et seront communiquées au ministre de tutelle.
My request is addressed to the Minister of Local Government. The villagers of Poudreau village contacted me to apprise me that last year the Poudreau village traffic center was inaugurated. It comprises of bus shelters and a toilet block. However, to date, the toilet block is not operational, causing inconvenience to the inhabitants or people who transit over there. Will the Honourable Minister do the needful so that the toilet block is open for the public? Thank you.
The request of the Honourable Member will be transmitted to the Honourable Dr. Husnu, Vice Prime Minister.
Merci. Ma requête s'adresse au ministre de l'Environnement et pourrait également concerner d'autres ministres et a trait à un ruisseau ou canal d'eau stagnante à la rue Conti, longeant l'autoroute à Port-Louis. En effet, ce ruisseau longe une maison et cette eau stagnante de couleur marron dégage une odeur nauséabonde et abonde de moustiques. La situation est d'autant plus grave en période de grosses pluies, qui est le cas en ce moment, et la cour est complètement inondée. Cette situation représente un réel danger pour la santé, d'autant que dans cette cour, il y a 3 bébés. Je fais un pressant appel au ministre pour qu'il se concerte avec ses collègues concernés et de dépêcher sur place leurs officiers respectifs et de faire diligence. Merci.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I'll convey the request to my colleague minister, and hopefully he's going to attend to that. Thank you.
Leopold.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I would like to bring to the attention of the Honourable Minister of Health and Quality of Life about the situation of 30 Rhodes student nurses who have been recruited after for a 3-year course in general nursing through the Central School of Nursing. We have been recruited since 8 months ago. After we have 2-week trials. 8 months have already passed. They still are waiting to start their training. I am therefore humbly request the Honourable Minister of Health and Quality of Life to look into that matter and do the needful accordingly.
Mr. Speaker, sir. Thank you, Honourable Member, to give me advance notice for this question. I have inquired from the office. The student nurse, the arrangement for their stay in Mauritius are done by the Rodrigue Regional Assembly. So once they request, they have already done the arrangement, then the ministry will proceed with their training. And I'm being informed that as from July this year, the training will start.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. My address tonight goes to the Vice Prime Minister, Minister of Local Government and Disaster Risk Management, Honorable Hasnou. I'm hereby conveying the outcry of inhabitants of Mont-Selman-Raffray, Le Hocher, specifically Avenue Fontaine 23, where the inhabitants have been, stating loud that the road is in a really bad state. So I would request the Honourable Minister to use his good office and to request the District Council of Pamplemousse to proceed for some patching work until we do, the resurfacing of the road. Thank you very much.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the request of the Honourable Member will be transmitted to the Honourable Vice Prime Minister of Health.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. My request tonight is addressed to Honorable Mahendranath Hariram, Minister of MNI. It concerns Anderson Street in QPIP, and this area is a flood-prone area and is considered as a high risk by the LDA. For more than 30 years, the inhabitant there has been facing flooding issue. We are aware of the project being implemented by the NDU. I'd be grateful if you could use your good office to intervene with the NDU so that the project is implemented at the earliest possible for the benefits of the inhabitants and all the road users in QPIP. Thank you.
Speaker, sir, I thank the Honourable Member to have given me advance notice, so I've gathered some information. I'm happy to announce that the bid document is ready. We are just awaiting financial clearance from Moffat as there has been change in the scope of work. And the LDA is now revisiting the plan that has been submitted by the consultants. So tentatively, we are planning to invite bid next month, June 2023, and we will surely award the contract October 2023. Thank you.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Ma requête s'adresse à un honorable ministre de l'Énergie et des Utilités publiques. Et cela concerne les nombreuses fuites d'eau dans la région de l'Ouest, plus particulièrement dans la région de Bambou, Rivière-Noire, Case-Noyal, Coteau-Raffin, La Golette et également un peu plus loin à Chamonix et Chemin-Cronier. Alors je demanderai humblement au ministre de tutelle de bien vouloir voir de quoi il en est exactement afin de résoudre au plus vite ce problème de fuite d'eau dans ces régions. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Oui, Monsieur le Président, la requête a bien été notée et sera transmise au ministre de l'Énergie.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Je m'adresse ce soir au ministre des Transports terrestres en tant que porte-parole des habitants de Pointe-aux-Sables et en particulier de la localité de Kensington au sujet de la liaison routière par bus entre Kensington et la gare du Nord à Port-Louis. Monsieur le Président, les usagers de cette ligne de bus opérée par Triolet Bus Services Limited m'informent qu'ils souffrent régulièrement d'un manque de respect des horaires affichés lorsqu'il ne s'agit pas d'oubli pur et dur du bus qui n'arrive pas, obligeant alors les usagers à marcher de Kensington à l'arrêt de bus se trouvant derrière le supermarché de London Way sur la route de Petit Verger à environ 1,5 km. Puis-je demander au ministre de faire le nécessaire auprès de la National Land Transport Authority pour que les horaires et les conditions de la liaison routière entre Kensington et Port-Louis soient scrupuleusement respectés. Merci.
Président, Monsieur le député, à toute notre écoute, mon collègue le ministre de tutelle est présentement à une fonction de la délégation européenne, comme vous le savez, Monsieur le Président, d'où son absence, mais certainement les observations faites lui seront transmises dès demain.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. My query is addressed to the Minister of Education, Honorable Lila Devi Dukan. Renovation works are required at H. Ramnaran Government School in Terre Rouge, namely renovation of the old toilet block, tarring of the schoolyard, uplifting and upgrading of the boundary wall and fencing. So I would kindly request the Honorable Minister to kindly extend her help for this to happen. Thank you.
Honorable Mr. Speaker, sir, the Honorable Member had informed me about her request, and I've been informed by the IMU, department of my ministry, that necessary communications have been sent to the MNI, to the Ministry of National Infrastructure, and works would start shortly. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. My request tonight is addressed to the Honorable Minister of National Infrastructure and Community Development. It concerns the footbridge at Queen Victoria. It was a footbridge that the inhabitants used to access to the temple, but it has now been demolished by the flood, and we could not expect more because it was constructed by the Labour government, like it was a made in China thing. So in the first flood, it disappeared. So my request tonight on behalf of the inhabitants of Queen Victoria to the Minister is if he could accelerate on the reconstruction of that footbridge so that the inhabitants can access to the temple like they used to do in the past. And I thank him for his prompt intervention. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, once again, I thank the honorable member for the advance notice. So I've gathered information again. In fact, Sarman Singh Yadav and Partners Consulting Engineers Limited appointed as consultant by the NDU for the design and supervision of this project. The Land Drainage Authority has recommended that a holistic study be adopted for the region which had been facing recurrent flooding events. The consultant carried out additional study and recommended that geotechnical investigation be undertaken to assess the existing soil condition in order to finalize the design and foundation of the proposed footbridge. I'm further informed that bids will be invited by the NDU end of May 2023 for the appointment of a contractor for the implementation of works, which will be over a duration of 5 months. So it's progressing nicely. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, the issue I'm raising tonight is addressed to the Minister in charge of TMSRSU. That is, if I'm not wrong, the Minister of Land and Transport. The House would recall that on the 28th of April last month, that is 2 weeks back, I raised the issue of a dangerous junction between the streets, the road Aïdoré and Pagoda Street. And when I raised this issue, I appealed to the Honourable Minister for the installation of road bumps, that is speed breakers, but unfortunately nothing has been done. I don't know for what reason. And today, just a few moments ago, an accident has occurred, yet another one. So again, Mr. Speaker, I'm appealing to the Honourable Minister of Land Transport to do needful urgently.
Request is noted and will be communicated to the Minister.
Ma requête s'adresse au ministre des Arts et de la Culture concernant un kiosque situé dans le jardin botanique de Queupip. J'aimerais lui demander de coordonner avec la municipalité afin que le nécessaire soit fait pour sauver ce kiosque qui est d'une importance culturelle, historique et qui a une esthétique unique, car sa structure en bois est infestée par les termites et menace de s'effondrer à tout moment. Merci.
Request noted, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My request is addressed to the Minister of Information, Technology, Communication and Innovation. It concerns the Muga at Caroline Belair Rivière that has been constructed since quite a while. And the inhabitants of Bel Air, Vieux and Caroline are long awaiting its opening and inauguration, so they can make use of all the amenities and facilities thereat. I would request the Honorable Minister to use his good office to ensure that the inauguration, opening, and the use of the facilities can be made available ASAP.
Mr. Speaker, sir, indeed, the Muga at Bel Air has been constructed, and I can reassure the honourable member that in coming days and weeks we will do an opening so that the inhabitants of the constituency may enjoy facilities of the Muga of Bel Air.
Time to go home.